What is HIPAA? The HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, otherwise known as HIPAA. HIPAA Public Law 104-191 was enacted August 21, 1996 to provide continuity of health coverage and administration simplification. Continuity and portability. Discrimination by health insurance plans based on health history is prohibited. Pre-existing conditions exclusions when transferring from one health plan to another are limited or eliminated. Administration a simplification. Addresses accountability, improves efficiency by establishing standards, protects the privacy of private health information, provides security for private health information records. Who must comply? All healthcare plans, all healthcare clearinghouses, all healthcare providers, and Babcock Center. HIPAA requirements extend to our business associates who perform a function or activity on behalf of Babcock Center. Babcock Center must require business associates to comply with all applicable requirements of Public Law 104-191. Require any agent or subcontractor to complete with all applicable requirements of Public Law 104-191. Protected Health Information, PHI. What is PHI? PHI is all individual identifiable health information of people we support and our employees that Babcock Center transmits or maintains in any form or medium, including electronic, written, and verbal communications. HIPAA requires information to be protected when it is related to a supported person or employee's physical or mental health, the provision of health care, or payment for the provision of health care. Identifies or could be used to identify the person served or the employee who is subject to the information. Is created or received by the Babcock Center. What type of information is included? Behavior rating scales, payment information, medical files, discharge summaries, diagnostic records, medication administration, psychological records, testing reports, treatment plans. Babcock Center use of PHI. Think about it. Management, quality assurance, consulting, data analysis, call team meetings, etc. Administration a simplification. There's the transaction rule, the privacy rule, security rule. Rule number 1, transaction rule. Transaction rule, standardization of Medicaid service codes. Unique identifiers, employee IDs, provider IDs, personal IDs. Rule number 2, privacy rule. Privacy rule. Written to protect a person's right regarding his or her private health information, outlines the conditions under which Babcock Center and others can release or receive PHI, outlines the person's rights to access his or her own PHI. What items are addressed by the privacy rule? Notice, consent, authorization, disclosure, minimum necessary information. Babcock Center forms are available. Privacy notice. Babcock Center is required to provide a written notice of our privacy practice, including a description of a supported person and an employee's right regarding PHI. The notice must include the person's right to inspect and copy health records, anticipated use and disclosure of the information that may be made without written permission, information on opting out before information is given to a directory or the next of kin or another person involved in his or her care. Consent. Babcock Center must obtain each person's consent prior to using or disclosing PHI to carry out treatment, payment, or health care operation. People have the right to request restrictions on how PHI is used or disclosed for treatment, payment, or health care operations. Authorization. Prior authorization must be obtained for purposes other than treatment, payment, and healthcare operations when use or disclosure is not otherwise permitted. Babcock Center may not condition treatment or on authorization. Disclosures. Authorization to PHI is not required for the following disclosures: for treatment and payment of healthcare options to the person, for directory purposes, to people involved in the person's care, to law enforcement or correctional institutions, for national security or intelligence purposes, made prior to the date of compliance with privacy standards, April 14, 2003. Authorization required for marketing, communications, fundraiser, public information if published, disclosure to family members or others if it is not authorized on the single plan. HIPAA privacy standards. A compliance floor or minimum standards may be exceeded by the federal or state law. Minimum necessary. Babcock Center must consider what is the minimum necessary information that is necessary to be released or requested from other entities in order to accomplish what we need to do for a person we support or an employee. Then limit the exchange of PHI to the minimum necessary. Rule 3. Security. Security rule. Standards to protect PHI systems from improper access and altercation. Applies to both written information and electronic files. Must be implemented by April 14, 2005. Babcock Center must identify the person's job description or employees who need access to information to carry out their duties and responsibilities. The categories or types of PHI needed. Conditions appropriate to such access. Babcock Center must also determine how much information comes into and goes out of offices, where PHI is located in each office, where there are possible gaps that allow unauthorized persons to view PHI. What happens if we don't comply? Babcock Center, $100 for violations up to a maximum of $25,000 per year for all violations of an identical requirement or probation. Individual, up to 1 year imprisonment and or up to $50,000 fine for a simple violation. Up to 5 years imprisonment and or up to $100,000 fine for releasing information under false pretenses. Up to 10 years in prison and or up to $250,000 for releasing information for money, personal gain, or malicious harm. To comply with HIPAA, appoint a HIPAA privacy officer, complete a gap analysis, develop revised policies and directives, provide training for all staff, implement the policy, monitor compliance. HIPAA stands for A. Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. Number 2. PHI stands for Protected Health Information. 3. Which of the following agencies must comply with HIPAA? The answer is E. All the above. 4. Babcock Center must consider what is the minimum information that is necessary to be released or requested is called A. Minimum necessary. 5. What happens if we don't comply? Answer is A. Possible fines and jail time for individuals.